I love cheesecake. It's one of my favourite cakes in the entire world. And this recipe is a really, really easy one to put together. Now, to make a cheesecake, you need to start with a base. Now, these are biscuits or crackers, whatever you want to call them, and these are digestives. Now, the trick is to pop these straight into your Maggi mix, just like that. I've got 1/4 cup of sugar, and you can use any type of sugar you want, and 150 grams of melted butter. The butter will bind everything together, so I've got a nice crust on the bottom of my cake tin. Now, just pop the lid on the top here like this, and turn it on, and it'll be nice and smooth in no time. Off comes the lid. You can see just a minute or so, even 30 seconds, and it all comes together. I'll just pop the blade out like that, give it a little bit of a tap, and with my spatula, I'll just make sure I get most of the crumbs off the outside, or as much as I can off the outside, and pop them into the base of my cake tin. You can see my cake tin is already lined with some baking paper. And the trick to keep the baking paper there is I use a little bit of olive oil spray on the inside, and that will keep it there. You could also use some butter or just rub some olive oil. It's very easy to do. Now, I'll get most of this out of here really, really easily. Now, normally I would pop this in the actual sink and give it a good clean, but this is all going together. So I just need to pop the base back on again, pop the blades back in, and I can get going with the rest of the mix. For me, I don't want to waste any time, and washing things up is a waste of time to me. I've got some cream cheese, and I've let this come up to room temperature. I've got 4 blocks, which makes 1 kilo. And by letting it come up to room temperature, it makes it a hell of a lot easier to get it nice and smooth, and it'll happen a lot quicker. I've also got about 200 grams of caster sugar because I like it nice and sweet. And I've got some vanilla paste because that's what gives it a great flavour. Now, you can add as little or as much as you want. I've got 2 tablespoons in there, and that will give it a really, really nice vanilla flavour. Now, to get my salted caramel flavour, I've got this salted caramel paste, which I bought from the supermarket. You can buy so many different types, really, really easy to get, and they're fantastic. Sometimes I might even put this on some toast in the morning. It makes it taste great. Now, to bind it all together, we need some eggs, and I've got some free-range eggs here. I'm going to crack 5 of them straight into the top here. Now, the beauty of this mix is you can get the whole lot of it into the Maggi mix, whiz it all together, and you've got a great mix to go on top of it. Okay, 1 more egg in there. Now, while this is whizzing around, I'm going to press the biscuits into the base there to form a nice, smooth base. Now, I've got some cream here, about 1/4 cup of fresh cream in there, and to give it a lovely flavour as well, I've got some sour cream, and I'll pop a couple of very, very large tablespoons into that. Now, of course, to get it all together, you need to pop the lid onto the top here like that, lock it into place, and get this base ready to go. That didn't take very long at all. Pop the lid off and then take the mixture out. Have a look at all the vanilla in there. You can tell it's real vanilla by all the tiny little black dots, and I know it's going to taste fantastic. Now, very carefully, I'll just smooth down the side and pour in the cheesecake mixture. Look at that. The right amount of mixture there. It's just about up to the sides. It will rise up a little bit as it cooks, but this will be fantastic. Scrape down the last little bit on the outside, but make sure that you do leave a little bit of batter on the inside, because while this is cooking, you need a little snack to eat. Now, this will go into the oven at 170 degrees Celsius. It'll take about 35 to 45 minutes. This won't take long at all. Now, I've let this cool down for about an hour. You want it nice and cold before you take the rim off. Trust me, you want the cheese to set. If you go taking the rim off too early, it may fall apart. Now, the baking paper comes off nice and easily. And this is the reason I put baking paper around the outside, just to make sure that it doesn't fall apart. And you can see the outside is perfect. Grab a palette knife and then grab the bottom of the cake. The trick is to carefully just slide it off the tray here like this, onto your plate like that. Nice and easy. Now, let that sit for a few more minutes, dust it with some icing sugar, and you can see it doesn't take very long, and it's not very hard to make a fantastic cheesecake. Have a look at that.